Well, we've only just started, and we now have an absolute cracker of a panel with a new friend of mine, but he's actually connected with my company, A+E Networks. We're now like to join Warren Webster out on the stage here. He is the CEO and president of Atlas Obscura. Thanks, mate. Good stuff. Nail it.
How's everybody? Talking about sustainability. How many people in here, the great thing about this event is that it's an entire room full of leaders. How many people here deal with sustainability on a daily basis in your own meetings, in your business plans? Does it come up a lot? About a quarter, maybe, half? It's hard to imagine anything that's more top of mind right now. We just had COP26. Government is talking about sustainability. Business leaders are talking about sustainability. It's if you think about modern leadership, it's hard to talk about modern leadership without talking about sustainability. In my own business, I run Atlas Obscura, and we take people to some of the most exotic destinations around the world. We share content, encourage people to go to these amazing destinations, and we have to be very conscious of, are we helping them or are we hurting them? And for us, it's about how do we not try to be least impactful, how do we become most impactful by helping the communities that we're sending people to, by helping employ local people who help lead our trips and contribute to our articles. And it's something that we think about every day. So it's a topic for us, it's a topic for every industry that you're in. And this panel this discussion we're gonna have is all about just some amazing leaders who talk about sustainability and lead in sustainability every day. So with that, this is the Leadership in Sustainability panel. And I'd love to introduce our panelists. We have the owner and chef of Nightbird restaurant and Linden Room in San Francisco, Kim Alter. Welcome, Kim. We have the chairman and CEO of International Flavors and Fragrances, Andreas Fibig. Welcome, Andreas. And finally, Senior Vice President of Global Tourism right here at home, the Los Angeles Tourism Board, Kathy Smits. Welcome, Kathy. So as you can see, we have a great representation of local and global, and we're going to talk in the next 20 minutes just about how each of you are addressing sustainability and thinking about it every day, and how you've led in the field of sustainability in your own industries. I'm going to start with Andreas. Andreas, first of all, you're the chairman and CEO of IFF. Maybe you could share with us, what is IFF?
It's a classical B2B company, and what we do is food ingredients from natural vanilla from Madagascar to biotech-derived enzymes, for example. But we do fragrances as well. We invent them, we create them, and the likelihood that you wear one of our fragrances here is very, very high, or we do it for detergents where you wash your laundry. So that's what we do. We invest a lot in research and development, probably 7% of our sales, so very much in the tech area.
Excellent. So on a global level, you're not only the CEO of a major international corporation, you're on the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. So between the council and IFF, who is taking the lead and how in sustainability?
I think that's important, and probably many of us have followed the COP26 negotiations in Glasgow right now. We believe in the WBCSD, where we have 200 CEOs of major global companies together, that a CEO-led organization can help this cause even at least as good as the countries, because we all have global operations. Like IFF, we do 80% of our business outside of this great country. And we focus on climate, we focus on inequality and loss of nature. And we have created actually 9 pathways how to make sure that we as a species can survive nicely in 2050 with 9 billion people on this planet.
It's hard to imagine. Kim, on a local level, so I've heard some amazing stories of the last couple of years that you've been dealing with being a successful restaurant owner. How does sustainability factor into your business, and what steps has Nightbird taken to address sustainability?
I mean, for me and for Nightbird, sustainability is everything. It's how we do our tasting menu, whether it's the reflection courses we have after each course that utilize waste. It's only going to farmers markets, using green companies, being a carbon-free restaurant, and just really teaching these important thoughts to our community, to my staff, and making sure that we are constantly thinking about the water, the droughts that we're dealing with, the fires, all these things like our tide, and what can we as a small restaurant do to inspire other restaurants, other businesses, because everybody has to be a part of the conversation.
How much does your average patron who comes into Nightbird for dinner think about sustainability? Are they talking to you about it? Are they asking you about it? Is it why they come there?
Well, like I was saying about our tasting menu being having reflection courses, there's lots of reasons why we do it. It's utilizing waste, watching our food cost, making something delicious. But in the end, it's a starting point for a conversation that we can have with our guests if they want to engage. We don't want to, teach and be preachy at a dinner that you're celebrating a birthday, but if somebody's excited and want to understand, we're there to start the conversation.
You're not snatching the food out of anyone's hand saying,
only sometimes.
You can't eat that. Kathy, responsible for 50 million, I think, tourists coming to Los Angeles from all over the world. There's a lot of conversation about how to travel responsibly, the impact of travel on destinations like LA. This is something that in my business we think about a lot. How does LA address sustainability, and what are some notable trends in sustainability and tourism?
Sure. I think for Los Angeles, we are fortunate that we are a very expansive, spread out city. So with the tourism board, one of our key strategies is dispersing visitors into our regions and our neighborhoods. When you look at the mayor, what he's done in 2019, he launched a new Green Deal that focuses on sustainability and the environment, as well as the economy, and also equitable living. We have a lodging program with our hotels, and LAX is also at the forefront of sustainability. But I think what's interesting, Warren, you said 50 million visitors. The industry has really played into these vanity numbers where we're counting the number of visitors that come in. And I think it's an opportunity for all of us to shift on quality visitation. There's a trend in the industry right now called slow tourism, where travelers are choosing very intentionally where they want to go, how they want to connect, learning about the local culture and food and music, and rather than having these multi-destination jam-packed itineraries, they're really, really involved in the destination. So I think that's a real upside.
So to all of you, a question that comes up a lot in my discussions about sustainability is, I think most people agree it's the right thing to do. We're all concerned about the planet, climate change, but at the same time, sustainability seems like it's expensive. It's an investment. So if you're a business looking at the bottom line, if you're building, in my case, a trips business or a content business, in Range Rover's case, a car business, you're thinking about the costs associated with it. So starting with you, Andreas, why is it good business to focus on sustainability?
Look, we believe actually that there's always a triple bottom line. It has to be good for the environment, it has to be good for the social environment, but it has to be good for our shareholders as well. And I give you a very concrete example. We have, for example, in our industry, the largest solar field, which powers not just our factories, but our research and development facilities in New Jersey as well, in one of the locations. And we had no capex because we basically partnered with a third-party organization. We have a very let's say, defined cost for our energy, and it helps the environment tremendously. And we have around the globe now, whenever we build new facilities, we have that approach, and that's actually very, very good. On top of it, what I have to say, and it might be true for you as well, is Our customers are requiring it. If you talk a Unilever or to a L'Oreal, they want you to behave environmentally conscious. So that's number one. Number two is the employee base. Many of our young employees, whenever I do a blog on my company blog and there's something about the environment and what we do in sustainability, I get the most response, the most thumbs up and good ratings. So if you want to attract young people nowadays for your operation, I think you have to do it. So now these are all good reasons, despite I believe it's the right thing to do.
That's a great point. And for us running trips, we get chosen often because we care about sustainability and the impact that we're making. And I think that's probably true of people buying any sort of product. It's been interesting to see in the investment world, venture capital and funds that are looking specifically for companies that take sustainability seriously.
That's actually a good point. If I might comment on it, we started many years ago with our sustainability journey over a decade, and we had a little response with US investors maybe 10 years ago. The last ESG call we had just for investors, we had 550 investors on the call about ESG, and that shows how important it is if you want to be sustainable on Wall Street as well. And our company is 132 years old, so we want to be that.
I'd say you're sustainable at this point. Yeah. And I think to your point, employees demand it too. I know when I hire people, they want to know what we're doing about sustainability. So from a local standpoint, local business, in the restaurant industry, is it good business? Are you finding it to be good business as well as the right thing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even though we're small and about 5 years old, we definitely feel that we want to align with like-minded brands and like-minded people. And I think that now when people go out to eat, they're not just going because it's a 4-star restaurant or, the chef's on TV. It's, well, what do they stand for?
Right.
And who are they feeding? And what are they doing? And what have they done? And we want to fall in line with a sustainable, community-focused restaurant that cares. And my staff, they're all along that. When I hire somebody, it's the first thing we talk about. And we bring it into our culture, and it's just a part of who we are. And I'm lucky that it's aligned with my business as well. San Francisco is expensive. Everywhere is expensive right now. But we definitely make sure that our guests understand why that chicken costs that. And
right, why the cost is being passed along, and you see it on the menu. That makes sense. And I know you've worked extensively, particularly during COVID, but even before with farmers and local farmers. Could you talk about that just for a minute? Just how that's working, and are they finding sustainability efforts to be good business?
I mean, it's all I've ever done for 22 years, cooking, working on farms. We have our own farm. It's mainly cannabis, but there's some...
That's good.
It's one of my investors. And then he grows me some carrots.
Kim will be in the parking lot later if anyone wants to meet her.
Fun dinners there. But I think that, I don't go to farms that use Roundup. I don't necessarily have to go to a place that's organic because the politics behind it, but I do think that farmers have struggled they've always struggled. It's a hard business. It's, it definitely is trending, and people want their organic vegetables from Whole Foods, and the farmers markets are definitely busy, but I mean, think what it costs to grow a carrot and how much they're charging for it. And so it's always been a struggle.
Yeah.
But done right, it's successful.
Yeah, and are the farms that you've been working with for years, how'd they survive? Are they coming back? Are they doing well?
Well, a lot of farms, like the guy I get my asparagus from, obviously, all the restaurants that were buying thousands of pounds of asparagus didn't buy it, so we just let it die because it was cheaper than to have people pick it. But we started a couple nonprofits that were cooking for unhoused folks, and in that we made sure that the farmers could sell us whatever they had at a reduced cost because we were just trying to survive. And I think it was really helpful. And we, there's 145 farms in San Francisco, and we all made it through.
Amazing, that's great. Kathy, from a tourism travel standpoint, obviously expensive to talk about sustainability and hospitality and travel and airlines and all the different things that happen around travel. It's just, you almost think it's just unsustainable. So how is it good business in
Well,
tourism and travel?
I think what you just said about unsustainable, I think that's the real challenge with tourism. It's a huge economic engine for a destination, but it's incumbent upon that destination to be a sustainability steward, because if we don't protect what visitors are coming to see, there's not going to be much to see for the long term. So I think that's really important. From a business standpoint, it's interesting because Skift, which is a leading travel industry platform, did a research study, and over 40% of Americans are willing to prioritize sustainability, and the respondents were younger and affluent. So I think right there, it shows that you've got the right business segment, and I think we all need to do our part.
I grew up on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, and in some ways you could look at Cape Cod as an example of sort of just over-tourism. The reason why people originally liked to go to Cape Cod sort of got built on top of, and now they're trying to say, okay, well, how do we do this in a way that's going to take us the next 50 years? It's just interesting to see. And I imagine a big city like LA has the same challenges.
It's interesting because we had our own over-tourism happening around the Hollywood sign. Especially everybody with their device. They were trampling through residences, they were on trails they weren't allowed to be on for that perfect shot.
I hate to admit that Atlas Obscura encouraged people to do that, but we'll make sure, we'll take that off the site.
It's one of those challenges, but I think from that, you then have business opportunities. There are several entities that are looking at ways to deliver visitors almost up the backside of the Hollywood sign with a proper platform and a structure. So I think there are opportunities really to leverage some of these challenges as well.
Sure. How many people here came to LA this weekend from somewhere else? Or is almost everyone? Oh,
well,
wow,
welcome.
A lot of visitors. All right, well, Kathy will have a gift for you waiting
I'll have a
outside.
desk outside if you have questions.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so is tourism coming back? What are the numbers like? If 50 million is a normal year,
Yeah.
what do you think this year is going to be?
We are definitely coming back strong. I think the summer was particularly strong, which is great. And we're seeing a lot of visitation from within California and also from our key markets. Our occupancy is back up around 70% most of the time, which again is huge for us. So we did take a hit. But I think also what's interesting is within the state of California, there's tremendous intrastate tourism. So that really sustained us through the most challenging part. And then as of earlier this month, borders have opened. We've already seen a lot of our key international markets booking their travel and planning to return. So I think it bodes well for Los Angeles and for the US in general.
Andreas, what is the World Sustainability Council seeing right now in terms of progress? And did COP26 change anything? Did it?
It's a good point, and I think in a sense it's a bit disappointing that we had not too much participation, in particular from Russia and China here. But I would say it's up to us right now in the business, and I think in the audience we have many business leaders. We have to see how we can push that topic forward and make sure that we make really sustainable progress. And I would say, if I can make one remark, what is important actually for all of us who manufacture something, that we look, what do we do with a product already before we invent it? We have, for example, we have sustainability as a function in research and development. Before we come up with a new molecule, what is the whole cycle of this molecule? So circular design is something which is really important, which might be important for a car and auto company as well, Joe, to figure out what to do with the batteries afterwards, in particular for electric cars, and then. I think that's would be an important mindset change for everything, not cleaning up afterwards and after the fact, but already when we design new products to look how can we do it in a circular design way.
Yeah, interesting. I happen to hear you mention backstage, and with Thanksgiving coming up, it sounds like a relevant topic. So is it possible for IFF to create a fake turkey or something that smells like tastes like a turkey?
Certainly, absolutely.
By the way, I'm throwing him a curveball because we have 2 extra minutes.
It's okay, but a big topic now, and you see it for many startup companies and bigger ones, is now plant-based proteins, so that you have, it started with plant-based burger patties, sausages, and do fish and seafood as well. So it's doable, and we do that, and it's certainly tasty as well. And it helps with the environmental footprint as well. In particular, when you replace meat, for example.
Excellent. All right, real quick, lightning round. What's the one most important innovation in sustainability from local, global, and travel? So starting with local, most important innovation in sustainability.
Regenerative farming, I think. Teaching the next generation of farmers and the community as to how to farm and how that will affect the climate, the water, and being able to grow vegetables in 10 years.
And from a international business perspective?
Circular design, as I said, I think that's the most important thing for us right now.
Circular design. And tourism and travel, most important innovation in sustainability.
I wouldn't say it's innovation, but it's evolution, and that is the evolving conversation between destinations, be it the tourism office, stakeholders, city, hoteliers, industry, and then also the traveler. It's a shared burden, and the traveler needs to travel responsibly, and the destination needs to do everything it can.
Excellent. Well, that concludes our panel today. We're out of time. I feel like each one of you could talk for another hour about all the things we're doing in sustainability, but just want to thank you three. Just such a great representation of local, global, and travel in sustainability. There's so much more to do. I know we're all inspired to do more, and thank you very much for being here. So,
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.